Welcome back to the coin world, where history meets value. Today, we dive deep into the fascinating world of the 1964 Liberty Lincoln penny, a coin that seems common, yet carries secrets that could be worth a fortune. The 1964 Lincoln penny, also known as the Liberty penny, was struck during a transitional period in American history. The country was navigating civil rights movements, the Cold War, and the final years of President Kennedy's term. Let's begin with the basics. The obverse side of the coin features the bust of President Abraham Lincoln, originally designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909 to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday. The word Liberty appears to the left of Lincoln's profile, a constant reminder of American values. The date 1964 and the mint mark, if any, appear to the right. On the reverse side, we see the Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959, replacing the original wheat ears that had adorned pennies. From 1909 to 1958, the reverse design was created by Frank Gasparro and made its debut to honor Lincoln's 150th birthday. The statue of Lincoln can even be seen faintly between the columns if you look closely. The 1964 Lincoln penny was minted in two locations, Philadelphia and Denver. Coins from Denver bear a small D mint mark under the date. Philadelphia minted coins do not have a mint mark. Both versions are composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. Now here's where it gets interesting. Over 6.5 billion 1964 pennies were minted, 3.8 billion in Philadelphia and 3.1 billion in Denver. Because of this massive mintage, most 1964 Lincoln pennies are extremely common in circulation, but that doesn't mean they're all worthless. What makes certain 1964 pennies valuable are mint errors, condition, and proof versions. Let's explore those now. Among the most sought after are 1964 pennies with double die obverse. DDO. This error causes doubling in letters, like Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date. These double die errors can fetch anywhere from $100 to over $1,000, depending on their sharpness and overall condition. Next up, we have off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't properly aligned during minting. Some off-center errors from 1964 are worth up to $250 or more. Another error to look out for is the clipped planchet, where a part of the coin is missing due to a minting mishap. These coins can bring in $50 to $200. Condition is also critical. A mint state MS65 or higher, 1964 penny, can sell for $50 to $500, especially those with a strong red luster proof. Coins from 1964 were only minted in Philadelphia and not intended for circulation. They were part of special sets, sold to collectors. 1964 proof Lincoln penny, especially in high-grade PR69 condition, can command $200 to $1,000 depending on its clarity and strike. There is also the curious case of the 1964 SMS special mint set coins. Although SMS sets officially began in 1965, some collectors believe a few 1964 SMS examples exist, extremely rare and potentially worth thousands. The year 1964 was a turning point in American history. The nation was in mourning following the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in late 1963, and citizens were still adjusting to the leadership of Lyndon B. Johnson. This turbulent period saw the rise of the civil rights movement, the Vietnam War escalation, and growing public distrust in government. Amid all this, coins like the Lincoln penny became symbolic of stability and tradition. The Lincoln penny, already a staple in American pockets since 1909, took on greater meaning during times of national change. Lincoln's image represented unity, equality, and freedom values under intense scrutiny during the 1960s. From a numismatic perspective, the 1964 penny was minted just before a massive shift in U.S. coinage, the end of silver in circulating coins, which occurred in 1965, though the penny was not silver. This transition added new collector interest to coins from this era. The Coinage Act of 1965, signed into law a year later, eliminated silver from dimes and quarters and reduced silver content in half dollars. This pushed collectors to pay closer attention to coins minted in 1964, creating a sense of nostalgia and urgency. The U.S. Mint in 1964 faced enormous pressure to meet coin demand. A nationwide coin shortage had developed due to hoarding, speculation, and increased vending machine usage. To combat the shortage, the mint ceased production of proof sets after 1964 and focused all its resources on circulating coins. As a result, 1964 became the final year for traditional proof sets before the transition to special mint sets in 1965. Interestingly, the 1964 penny was among the last coins made with a relatively high degree of artisanal craftsmanship. Later decades saw more automation and less hand finishing in die creation. The Lincoln design itself had evolved very little by 1964. Brenner's initials, VDB, were removed shortly after the 1909 release due to public criticism, but they returned in 1918 small and subtle beneath Lincoln's shoulder and were present on the 1964 issue, the 1964. Lincoln penny also marked the 55th anniversary of Lincoln's appearance on U.S. coinage. His enduring presence underscored his legacy as one of America's most beloved lead. In terms of minting techniques, 1964 still used the traditional screw press system, where Plankett's coin blanks were struck with high pressure between two dies. The transition to high-speed presses would ramp up later in the decade. The penny's design, featuring Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back, was rare among global currencies, featuring both the portrait and a monument of the same person on a single coin. Public sentiment toward the penny in 1964 was complex. While it was still a valuable unit of currency, a penny could buy a stick of gum or candy. Inflation and economic growth were already reducing its purchasing power. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe to the Coin World.